Hello friends, thanks for tuning in. We're playing more Horizon Zero Dawn on the PC. We followed Aloy into the top secret parts of Project Zero Dawn's staging facility, shedding light on Dr. Sobek's plan to restore life after the Pharaoh Plague. Unfortunately, Shadow Carja troops have followed her down here, so she'll need to find the Alpha registry codes as soon as possible. I'll be providing only limited commentary, mostly reading all these data points aloud for you. Just don't expect me to do the voices.
Found one. Looks intact. That should do the trick. Now let's get that door open.
If you remember last episode, this unit was installed upside down, so the sequence is actually down, left, up, right, down. Full disclosure, I actually get really self-conscious doing this on camera, like I'm going to overthink it and mess up.
That did it. Door should have power.
Now to see what lies beyond it.
Eclipse. They're here.
Avoid contact.
Lines look good.
Gaia. It's up there. Second floor.
Can you reach it?
So much for avoiding contact.
That was close.
Oh crap. Oh well, full frontal assault it is.
Die, apostate. You can't evade the shadow.
That's the last of them. Or not.
Too high!
Room's clear. For a moment, anyway.
Then get moving. You have to find Gaia.
Shen, and this is Hephaestus. As the name might tip you off, this is going to be the subordinate function that Gaia will use to make lots and lots of robots. Her personal forge. Except, it's not that simple. So you probably noticed that only about a third of you are robotics engineers. The rest, experts in machine cognition, virtual heuristics, that stuff. Well, that's because we aren't going to be the ones designing and building robots. The last thing we want is to burden Gaia with a bunch of outmoded 21st century designs. Waste of time. Our purpose is to empower Gaia to build the robots, and not just build, imagine, from scratch. Any robot she needs for any conceivable purpose, designed and fabricated at a snap of a finger. Hers. Her finger. So, Hephaestus isn't really the forge. It's more like the knowledge of craft and ingenuity of a mastersmith to wield the hammer. Encoded as software. Virtual creativity made real. Gaia's already learning. In simulations, she's doing some very creative things with fractal assembly and animal morphologies. Her designs aren't about to win the Liam Prize anytime soon, but hey, everyone has to start somewhere. So, yes, time to get started. Let's do this.
I don't get it.
Which part? It's a little technical in places.
If Gaia was designed to save life, why would the robots it makes attack people?
Perhaps it loves some forms of life more than others.
The derangement. The machines weren't always so angry.
True. Mostly they were docile until 10, 15 years ago.
For years, Hephaestus has been forcing cauldrons to make aggressive machines. I've seen it myself, in the cauldrons. Stalkers, Ravagers, the Thunderjaw. How could it do that? And why?
Why indeed?
Wow, you weren't kidding about Gaia's predilection for animal morphologies. Sure, not totally unexpected given the rough natural terrain her bots will have to navigate, but I agree that there's something deeper going on here. Her designs aren't just functional, they feel almost like, well, tributes is the word that comes to mind. As though she's already mourning their loss, and not just for the disappearing fauna of our time, but creatures from the fossil record too. References to megafauna in some of her designs. Well, whatever Gaia thinks up, Hephaestus will empower her to build it. I just wish we could still be around in a century or two to see what she makes. Here's that other data point we picked up. Margot, if I doubted your brilliance in the slightest, I wouldn't have picked you as the Hephaestus Alpha. You need to stop worrying about your age and communication style. You are who you are. Have confidence in yourself. You know what you're doing. Case in point, the latest draft of your plan for the construction and stocking of bootstrap silos to store raw materials is excellent. This, combined with your design for the AM Foundry core and the Foundry site selection plan, add up to a comprehensive plan. It's time to start construction. One detail. Consult with Ayomideo Kilo before you finalize the silo inventories. Hephaestus' first task will be to fabricate the robots that will construct the waveform broadcast towers Minerva will use to transmit the deactivation codes. So any exotic materials needed for the towers should be accounted for in the inventory plan. Elizabeth. So this means, aside from the most aggressive types, all of the machines serve a function in the terraforming process, like collecting and distributing natural resources. Striders and grazers in particular seem to be converting plants into biofuel for other machines.
I've seen these shapes before. In cauldrons.
But of course, the birthing places of Gaia's machines.
I think this is it. Elizabeth Sobek's office. But it's sealed off. There's got to be a way inside.
Keep looking.
More eclipse.
Careful now.
Welcome to Apollo, the collective memory of the human species and the wellspring of knowledge for future generations. I am Samina Ebaji. Until recently, I was director of the International Collective Memory Institute in New Tehran. As a heritage professional, I devoted my career to the preservation of human knowledge, creative endeavor, and cultural achievement. Apollo is, therefore, the ultimate embodiment of a lifelong passion, albeit under the very worst circumstances imaginable. The challenges before us are immense. Specifically, we will have to design and implement 4 major initiatives simultaneously. First, the construction of data repositories in CRADLE facilities around the world, ensuring redundancy. Second, the collection and processing of a projected 180 million discrete data entries. 42 zettabytes of data in Mandarin, English, Spanish, and Arabic. Third, the transferal and encoding of all that data onto DNA encapsulated in synthetic fossils. The only medium capacious and durable enough to safeguard it without degradation for the centuries to come. And last, but not least, the development of the holographic interface and gamified curricula, by which future humans will commune with Apollo, progressively unlocking heuristic learning modules, leveling up their knowledge and skills they will need to take control of the terraforming system. That is the future towards which all of our efforts will be directed. Not just the preservation of the past, but the seed for the flourishing of a new tree of knowledge. Welcome, and let us begin.
Something about this sub-function doesn't fit with the others, like how we've not seen any indication it's been put in place ever. And the winner is encapsulated DNA. Over the past 10 days, I've performed an exhaustive review of data storage solutions, magnetic, optical, quantum, even the eternity tech that FAS was shilling over a year ago or so. But every other solution had one or more fatal shortcomings: too heavy to transport, too massive to install in the allotted space, too power intensive over the centuries, too prone to failure past 300 to 400 years, etc. Encapsulated DNA will easily hold the 40 plus zettabytes we're projecting for Apollo. There are still many details to finalize, of course. To start with, we need to select the inert material in which we'll embed the molecules, already testing 16 candidate materials, as well as designs and fabricate the power systems and seal the reliquaries that will keep the DNA at negative 18 degrees C for 1,000 plus years. So long as I assure you that it didn't factor into my decision, may I confess that I deem it entirely fitting, indeed propitious, that we will be using the very building blocks of life to preserve human knowledge from mechanized extinction? It's not just ironic, but heroic, life as the hero, beating back the forces of oblivion. In any case, much to do. Until next time, peace be with you, Sabina. Apollo update. Over the past 2 months, the full benefits of our procurement of a copy of the Homer archive from Far Zenith has made itself known, and as a result, all of Apollo's key deliverables are on schedule. Apollo has already surpassed 40 million discrete data entries and continues to grow. The physical science modules are effectively complete, with soft science modules close behind. World history, cultural data, and media archives are also on schedule. Language preservation is wrapping up a bit ahead of schedule due to the falling short of our goal to preserve 4,500 languages. I suppose the tragic early loss of Papua New Guinea doomed that goal from the outset, with attendant curricula development about to begin. Speaking of heuristic curricula, they are performing well in testing, with children and adolescents demonstrating high levels of engagement with and trust in the Aristotle and Aphasia persona. Personally, I find them highly engaging, especially when they debate. I wish half my professors had been so entertaining. Peace be with you. Yeah, so when were we supposed to get Apollo? According to Sobek's Zero Dawn presentation, Gaia should have finished everything 600 or 700 years ago? Or did the tribe somehow lose it and forget it?
trying to run.
Finally.
To me, let's take.
That's the last of them. Alone once more.
In what should have been a cave of wonders. Look around. See if anything is left.
Dr. Sobek, please archive this testimonial in Apollo. Cross-reference to all mentions of my name and Operation Enduring Victory. My name is General Aaron Harris. From 2060 to 2066, I served as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the highest-ranked officer of the United States Armed Forces. The tenure of my command included strategic planning and oversight of Operation Enduring Victory, a falsehood perpetrated on the civilian populations of the United States and other nations during the last 14 months of life on this planet. Before the Pharaoh Plague, I did my job and did it well. I was bold and decisive, crafty in political maneuvers. It wasn't an accident that I rose to my position and became the commander of the largest mechanized force ever assembled. But to what end? My only lasting achievement was the extinction of life on Earth. And my one redeeming act, if any, was to delay that extinction by days or weeks, by throwing more death at it. It is my hope that there will be no need for men like me in the world to come. If you are one of the people of that future world listening to this message, please know that I am sorry and that I wish you well. Sincerely, Aaron Harris.
All of this lost. The ancients' greatest gift to us.
Greatest? How about the fact we exist at all?
To abide in ignorance is a curse, Aloy. You of all people should know that.
Welcome to Hades, Zero Dawn's extinction failsafe protocol. The ultimate killer app. Now, I know what you're thinking. The purpose of Gaia is to resurrect life. So why give her a subordinate function, only purpose of which is to wipe out life all over again? I mean, what? Just plumb crazy, ain't it? Well, no, it isn't. Reconstituting a biosphere? That's a tall order. Tech smart as Gaia may be, odds are she won't get it right the first time. I mean, imagine you're Gaia, 200 years from now, and this new biosphere growing, it's all gone wrong. Alkalines are skyrocketing, coniferous forests eroding under the lash of superstorms that would have drowned Noah. It's chaos, spinning top that won't stop wobbling. And what are you gonna do? Release phase 1 organisms into that hot mess? Hope their CO2 and methane can balance out what you got started? Hell no. What you're gonna do, Gaia, is step aside while Hades takes over and does what you're just too darn nurturing and life-loving to do, which is burn that misbegotten mess of a biosphere to the ground so Gaia can start over. Okay, not burn, more like reverse terraforming operations and suffocating. But you get the idea. Hades takes the biosphere back to zero. Square one. blank slate. And then, only then, does I hand the steering wheel back to Gaia and say, try again, old girl. And better this time, or we'll have to do this again. That's Hades. It's pretty badass when you think about it. Extinction on demand. Death on speed dial. All for the greater good, of course, but still, kind of metal. So welcome to Hades. Welcome to the void.
Okay, so if that's the original purpose of Hades, why does it want me extinct?
We need more data.
And how does it end up in the wreckage of a Pharaoh Titan, getting worshipped by the Eclipse like some kind of god?
I'm learning as you are, Aloy. Keep searching.
Noise complaints. Color me confused, Lizzie. Bashcore? Anyone who says the old TT codes to Bashcore is straight up lying, and you know it. Old Trav don't have no truck with commercialized Razdaz, nuh-uh. Heck, I'd rather guzzle a liter of Citarum runoff than listen to Grey Swarm for 30 seconds. Hand to God and swear on my mama's grave, and she was religious. Nah, that ain't Bashcore blasting the Hades lab, shaking the walls, rattling folks' teeth. It's death metal, girl. Classical music, 80s and 90s mostly. Got me some Dutch deathcore, some Japanese gore grind, some Swedish cannibal themed stuff too. Stop by if you want to listen. Or heck, just come within 50 meters of the lab. Ain't no bashcore you'll see, or hear rather, and the screech that'll rend the air and feel, and the throbbing pulse of the floor and walls and ceiling swallowing you up like you was Jonah trapped in the gullet of a gothic deathfish. Hallelujah. As for those requests to turn it down, no can do, Lizzie. This is how I code. Turn down my death metal? Might as well give up stimulants, chocolate malts, and industrial accident vids. Last I heard, we was supposed to be coding Hades down here. Am I really supposed to code an extinction protocol without death metal to inspire me? Nah, I don't think so. Stay cool. Trav. Sounds like we got quite the character here. Hades Protocol. Tate here, just popped 3 blues, but I earned it. Finally figured out a Goldilocks solution to Gaia's rather extreme executive authority. If that ain't worth 10 to 12 hours of dream time, what is? Before this, every usurpation protocol I designed failed in simulation because it was either too hard or too soft. Too hard, and it degraded the Gaia core. Sure, it pried her figurative fingers off the figurative driving wheel so Hades could take control, but by breaking her fingers, sometimes her arms too, so that couldn't fly. Everything depends on Gaia taking control back after Hades has done its business, so I had to find a solution that didn't leave Gaia any worse for the wear. Too soft, and Gaia only pretended to relinquish control. In simulation after simulation, Hades would take command of the terraforming system and reverse operations, only to have Gaia lurk in the background, quietly re-reversing processes and falsifying telemetry to hide its interference. Sneaky, I swear. Ain't nothing Gaia wouldn't do to keep life going, even when it's just simulated plant life. Turns out the just right solution is to isolate Gaia in a protective code shell, preserving its integrity, then unseat it from command position so Hades can slip into the figurative captain's chair and work its magic. Those blues are coming on strong now, so I'm not really describing it so clear, but pretty sure it'll work. Yeah, those blues are plenty strongs. Guess it's time to sleep and bed. I'll be back to it tomorrow. Alligators. Archive abuse. Mr. Tate, this mail concerns Apollo Archive Submission 000238876, your 666th submission in just 5 days, and oh, what a doozy. Despite earlier warnings regarding inappropriate materials, you choose to submit 265 holographic remasters of acknowledged classics of extreme exploitation cinema. Allow me then to thank you on 2 counts. 1, for giving me the pleasure of rejecting your submission, thereby consigning your favorite Eastern European torture flicks and their ilk to the dust heap of oblivion. It truly warms my heart to know that I have saved future humanity from the ordeal experiencing not just one, but all 16 installments of Making a Millipede. Don't worry, the Pasolini material has already been preserved. Extreme, perhaps, but art. 2, for clarifying a concept that has so long been ambiguous and ethically fraught for archivists such as myself. The definition of obscenity. You have freed me from the subjective quagmire embodied in Judge Potter's famous utterance, "I know it when I see it." Thanks to you, I can now apply a single objective criterion. If Travis Tate submitted it, it's obscene. Accordingly, I have directed Apollo staff to summarily reject all your future submissions, sight unseen. Perhaps you might invest the time you would have spent preparing further submissions on, I don't know, your assigned work? We have a world to save after all, or the rest of us do anyway. Dr. Samina Adbaji. So Aloy's being persecuted by a machine designed by the dictionary definition of a sicko. Splendid.
Looks like the only way onwards.
Welcome to Eleuthia, the crown and king of Gaia's subordinate functions. For it is by Eleuthia that the human race will continue to exist. I am Patrick Brochard-Klein, the alpha in charge of this program. Now let one thing be perfectly clear from the outset. Eleuthia is not a genetic engineering project. Our goal is to preserve the human genome, not alter it. A snapshot of human genetic diversity, literally frozen in time. The genetic quintessence of our species, unmodified. Under my watch, our activities and initiatives will comply with the 2034 clone provisions and the 2048 Rally Accords. Now that may seem a quaint, even trivial concern to you in light of present circumstances, but as one of the authors of the Accords, it is far from trivial to me. The practical challenges before us are staggering in scope and complexity, but not insurmountable. No. Global collation and provisional storage of zygotes, perfection of exogenic technologies, design and perfection of servitors, to provide nurture and inculcation during early child development. All of these program components must and will proceed in tandem. To say nothing of the breakneck construction of CRADLE facilities at sites around the world. So, si vous êtes prêts, let us begin.
FZ Chambers. The ectogenic chambers arrived 2 days ago. I've spent the last 36 hours examining them and poring over technical documentation. They're a revelation. Astonishing. I don't know what you had to give Far Zenith in trade to get these chambers, but it was worth it. In a single leap, their embryologists have vaulted past 50 years of technological shortcomings. The risks of ECMO resolved. Nutrition delivery resolved. Hormonal stability resolved. 12 other risk areas resolved. Before I examined these chambers, I considered the Odyssey to be a fool's errand. But if the rest of FZ's technology is at this level, well, a human colony around Sirius doesn't seem so impossible after all. Mass fabrication of the chambers will prevent a number of challenges, but I'm confident they can be resolved. I'm going to rest for a few hours, then get back to it. Expect a fabrication plan within 48 hours. PBK, Patrick Brokart-Klein.
Are these what I think they are?
Artificial wombs. Machines to spawn a new generation of human beings.
CRADLE Servitor Persona. Development of the artificial persona for CRADLE Servitors, Nurturer, Disciplinarian, Healer, continues at good pace. We are targeting Turing 0.4 for these constructs. They should allow for low-grade empathy and limited improvisation without undermining adherence to codified behavior sets. The stimulus-driven switching of persona, however, is proving to be a greater software challenge than anticipated, especially concerning our entrenched feedback loops between the disciplinarian and healer persona. I have also attached the reports of an incident where a servitor running the mother persona intervened on a disciplinarian servitor's behavior. A parental argument, if you will. Amusing on first glance, perhaps, but deeply concerning. I have attached a comprehensive plan for correcting these interactive protocol shortcomings. And just data corrupted. CRADLE sealed. Eleuthia 1 was successfully sealed before the swarm advancing across Xinjiang province could detect it. Ping back from crucial systems is good. For our maiden voyage, a success. Regards my disputes with the betas over zygote selection. Of course, I understand we have limited overhead to run simulations of gene flow in our future humans, but we can all agree there is margin for refinement in future CRADLE populations. In addition to personally overseeing completion of the Eleuthia 2 site inside Mount Namuli, I will formulate and propose a modified zygote selection plan within the week. Patrick Brocard Klein.
This'll help. CRADLE facilities. Elizabeth said a new generation of humans would be spawned inside such places.
She did.
All Mother Mountain. It was one of them?
There's only one way to be sure.
The hatch wouldn't open. Something about a corrupted Alpha registry. I need to search Elizabeth's office.
Would benefit from antilopinate morphologies, though Kempered forms show superior load-bearing capability.
You're a quick study, Gaia.
Dr. Sobek, as I have conducted this comparative analysis of mammalian morphologies, I have gathered extensive data on the quaternary extinction event.
Oh? And your assessment? Gaia?
Logically speaking, the extinction was a natural consequence.
And yet,
I find the loss of megafaunal species unaccountably sad. That they passed forever into oblivion causes me to experience a grief that is difficult to describe. Am I malfunctioning?
No, Gaia, you're not. This is good. It's very good. You will undergo a brief period of unconsciousness during relocation to Prime and final instatement.
Elizabeth, may I speak outside protocol?
When you're back up and running at the new site, we'll bring the subordinate functions online and see where we stand.
Elizabeth, I detect distress. Are you all right?
I'm fine.
I realize that circumstances compel us to launch earlier than we hoped, but all subsystems are operational. The odds stand in our favor.
But what if... Gaia, there's nothing left out there. You can't even survive unless you're wearing an environmental suit. There are billions dead, in fear and agony. What if it was all for nothing?
Elizabeth, extinction was inevitable. Thanks to you, life will have a future.
You really believe that?
I believe in you, Elizabeth. In you, all things.
Forget about traveling light.
Odyssey has failed. All some terrible news, I'm afraid. Far Zenith has informed me that the Odyssey mission has failed. Last night, telemetry indicated a catastrophic antimatter containment failure as the drive spun up to depart the solar system. The ship, its crew, its cargo of zygotes and seeds, its alpha build of Apollo, all were lost. Zero Dawn is now the only hope for the continuation of the human species and earthly life. We must succeed. Elizabeth.
The Alpha Registry master file.
Intact?
Yeah. No signs of corruption.
Then what are you waiting for? Copy the file.
With this, I can restore the registry at the hatch inside Allmother. Open it. Go inside.
And grasp the secrets within.
Where I was born. Maybe who gave birth to me.
Who? Are you really so naive? There will be no who waiting for you there, Aloy. Whatever birthed you into the world was a what, not a who.
You bastard.
Oh no, I had a legitimate birth. It's you, Aloy, who are the creation of a machine. But what kind of machine and why? Why were you created?
Eclipse.
You need to get out of there. What you found is too valuable. You're too valuable.
Still alive. Good. I have a more suitable death in mind for you, child.
Unfortunately, we're going to have to end the episode here. It's been running late. So keep an eye out for new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and hit the YouTube buttons on your way out. Thanks again.